Alex, quite on the contrary, you're in the private markets, very much into private credit markets, right? A space that's typically lacking transparency. So, how do you integrate ESG to the process? And is ESG an important driver for returns? And why do investors need to know about ESG integration?
Yes, you're right, exactly. Within the private capital markets, you've got the private equity and you've got the private credit. And by its longer term nature, private equity with governance rights and longer term horizons has been a lot more focused on ESG than private credit as a rule. Um, Within our own little universe, engaging in mid caps and smaller caps has given us an outsized ability to influence the direction of the company and apply our own ESG perspectives to those companies. So starting from the beginning, when we look at a company, we have exclusion lists and we have companies and industries which we don't want to go in, but not necessarily a black and white exclusion. If there's a company which we'd like to promote some change in, we're happy to go into the company on the basis that we will direct the movement of the business into one of the areas we want to by changing their overall business. We've got two tools at our disposal. One is capital, which is what most fund managers and what most borrowers are looking for in terms of allocating capital towards their future growth plans or their working capital needs. And the other one is actual technical know-how. And we pride ourselves by combining both. So not only will we allocate capital to a company and say, I would like you to develop these ESG initiatives, but we'll also give them the technical tools and provide on-site assistance to actually implement those as we go through our process. And that's the most valuable thing, I think, particularly in the private sector and also the overall asset allocation sector. There is this desire, and I do believe most people have a desire to try to implement ESG initiatives within their business, but there's also a lack of understanding in terms of what practical steps to do when doing that. You're confronted with this somewhat alphabet soup of all different acronyms of standards or monitoring or scorecards to go through, and those are increasing exponentially all the time. The consultants advising you on different ESG ratings and standards continue to thrive. Whereas at a practical level, having the tools to say, I have a 2-year or a 3-year goal for developing your ESG standards, and I can help you in implementing that. That's one of the key differentiators. And invariably, we find a little, to be honest, a little bemusement or hesitation by our counterparties at the beginning of the process. But by the end of the 3 or 4 years, the companies are always very, very happy with what they're doing, and they've got better relations with their employees, their community, the stakeholders, their customers, and a better, stronger business at the end of it.
Do you see that as an important investment driver?
It is. I mean, companies are driven by the people who they work with and the customers they work with. And companies now with strong ESG credentials, they're able to attract better employees. As we heard before, the new generation Z is very much focusing on working for good companies with good ESG backgrounds. They're able to get better customers. Customers are more differentiating, better community involvement, better stakeholders, lower cost of capital, and they're accessing new financings. It's a virtuous circle if you can get it right.